Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast here in Sarasota, Florida, Cultural Coast being Anna Maria to Inglewood, and we are right in the middle of that. And I'm Reverend Theresa and I welcome you into my home, onto my couch with me, and thank you for inviting me into yours. This time of social distancing or physical distancing doesn't have to be social, doesn't have to be isolation. And we're finding more and more ways to continue to connect with one another. And so I'm glad that you took this opportunity to connect and to connect with your family. And this morning, we're going to get an opportunity to maybe try something new or maybe deepen a practice that you've already had. It's our first Sunday of the month, and so we typically do a contemplative service. For a whole year, we've done a meditative type of service on the first Sunday of the month. And for this, for today's, I'm switching it up just a little bit because we're going to do chanting. We're going to chant mantras, and we've got a special treat for that. And I just got to tell you for a moment, my first experience with chanting a mantra, especially in public, was at my first ministerial school retreat, which would have been about 8 years ago now, and it was in San Jose, California. And Reverend Dr. Edward Villon, who is now the spiritual leader of the Centers for Spiritual Living, led us in some chants. And he spoke to us about chanting, he spoke to us about mala beads, and we did several smaller ones, and then we did the Gayatri mantra 108 times. So that was quite an experience for me. I had never done that before. And right before that, shortly before that, we had done a chamber prayer. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced a chamber prayer. I had not. 2 decades in this teaching, the Science of Mind teaching, I had never experienced either one of these. Chanting or a chamber prayer. And a chamber prayer, what they did was they had the freshmen, who I was one of them, freshmen go into the middle and they did concentric circles around us. They lifted their hands as if to share, feel energy, and then did a spiritual mind treatment. Everyone in the circle did it out loud for our highest and best good during our ministerial training. So you had over 100 voices saying what I know is all is God and blah, 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 blah. It was quite an experience. And I thought to myself, oh my God, maybe my mom was right. Maybe this is a cult. I don't know. These were 2 experiences I had never had. And again, like 2 decades in the teaching. So I'm excited to not wait 2 decades to introduce you all to some of these things. An experience, having an experience of the divine is so much better than me talking about it, right? That's what I want for you this morning, is an experience of the divine. Our Centers for Spiritual Living global theme for this month is listening to the heart. And what a beautiful way to dismiss the thoughts and listen to the heart. It's a real joining of mind, body, spirit. It's a real bringing all of that together in the wholeness of who and what we are, in the fullness of who and what we are as divine beings, and merging all parts to meet the divine within. That is really what singing mantras, chanting, singing affirmations is all about to me. It is opening myself to the availability of consciousness and that monkey mind that we all have. You're not the only one that experiences that. I experience the monkey mind, and chanting is a way to allow that to calm and brings us into the present moment, into a real awareness of the oneness. And so let's just take this idea into our invocation as we begin our morning in recognition that there truly is an omniscience, omnipotent, omnipresence available. And so I affirm for each one of us this morning that we dive into that we fall into it, that we dance with it, that we sing with it, that we really embody and feel, have an experience of the oneness in which we are. Be it through chant, song, be it through words, English or Sanskrit, be it through modern or ancient practices, be it through movement, the vibration of sound, the movement of our bodies. We recognize during this time together a presence within us that is so vibrant, so alive, that we are connected to this source and substance of all life at all times. I claim this experience for myself. I claim it for each one on this call. In the sound of my voice, seeing us from wherever you are. I know God is. And so it is. So it is. So here's our treat. We have Meredith and Stephen Beagle from the Sarasota's Rock and Kirtan Band. They're definitely a mainstay in Sarasota. And so we're going to invite them on to lead us in this first song. And just know that no one can see you or hear you, so sing out.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a joy to be with Bob and Theresa this morning. A mantra is an instrument of the mind, a powerful sound or vibration that you can use to enter a deep state of meditation. The word mantra could be broken up into two parts: man, which means mind, and tra, which means transport. So the Sanskrit word that means for mantra means set free from the mind. So this first mantra is by the Guru Ganesha Band. It's called 1,000 Suns. And a lot of it's in English, but the part that's in Sanskrit is Ang Sang Waheguru. It means the dynamic, loving energy of the infinite source of all is dancing within every cell of me. And after each mantra, we're going to sit in silence for a few seconds just to feel the vibrations. And it's called the nod. And just sit quietly. You can relax. You can meditate.
And you can
sing
follow
along.
the words that
And Theresa's put the
Teresa
words.
put the words up.
light of God's love into the world. With the open heart and arms full. Carry the light of God's love into this world. With the open heart and arms full. Can you feel it? 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 Can you feel it in your heart? Can you feel it? 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 Can you feel it in your heart? Can you feel it? Open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart. Can you feel it? Open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart. Can you feel it?
Waheguru. It's the divine inner teacher, and there is a divine inner teacher within all of us. My message this morning is a Holy Communion. This chant and mantra leads us into a Holy Communion, or points the way to the Holy Communion within us. And for me, it's an ecstatic union when I'm singing. It feels that way. I want to share with you a little bit out of a book that I have taught from in the coursework for the accredited courses with the Center for Spiritual Living. Is a meditation course, and we utilize the Ram Dass's book, Journey of Awakening, a meditator's guidebook. And I love the class. I love the book. It's very interesting. And in the section on mantras, Ram Dass writes, a word, a name of God, or a spiritual phrase that is repeated over and over again is known as a mantra. Of course, we heard Steve just introduce it that way. The practice of mantra is an effective way to concentrate your mind, but just as important is what you concentrate on. thus the mantra. A mantra must connect us with the sacred. And I want to thank Meredith and Stephen, because every time I'm with them or in their presence or at one of their kirtans, I feel that very deeply, that connection to the sacred. And so to stick with Ram Dass for a minute, he says a mantra provides a boat. He gives us this great analogy here. He says it provides a boat with which you float through your thoughts unattached, entering subtler and subtler realms. It is a boat that steers itself to the threshold of God. The use of mantra sets up one's thought, one wave, one thought, one wave that repeats over and over again, Waheguru, Waheguru, dislodging then our attachment to all other thoughts until they are like birds gliding by. Our other thoughts just go on. He gives us in the book, he uses the example of the Sanskrit mantra Ram, the word of God, a word of God. And he says that we can use this mantra, Ram, 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 3 to 4 hours, he says, or longer, totally surrendering completely to the sound of the mantra, Ram, Ram. You know, this 108 beads, that's good for me usually to get through one repetition of that 3 to 4 hours I have not done. But he invites us when we're doing this practice, when we're doing chant, that we offer up our disbelief. We offer up all our doubts. We offer up our doubts if this works, if this really is going to bring us to a union with the divine. He says to offer up and imagine that as we're offering up really to the mantra itself on a golden tray with a silk handkerchief across it with incense and a candle, that we offer up to the mantra all our thoughts, all our doubts, all our discomforts, all our burdens, even our sore throat, which I would imagine after 3 to 4 hours we'd have. There's a vibration within the sound, whether it's Ram, Waheguru. There's a vibration within the word that we're using that's working on a subatomic level, if you will. And we know that we are energy ourselves, right? So it really is shifting at a very deep level. I want to, I've held up my mala beads here, and I want to talk a moment about the beads. They're associated with the counting of the beads, either a rosary or a mala, rosary beads, or a mala is passing the bead and counting. It's the repetition of the prayer or the mantra or the affirmation that you're doing. And so if your mind wanders, the beads can be a reminder, oh yeah, I'm chanting, and where you are, in the process. And it's also the rhythm of having your fingers going over the beads. The rhythm of that is compelling, and it adds to that experience of mind, body, spirit, a total immersion with the body and harmony with the mind. And it's also practical. Again, like I said, you can keep track of the repetitions. In Tibetan Buddhism, the malas, this one again is 108 beads with typically with a guru bead, the larger one at the end. And they can be different sizes, but they're going to be divisible by 9. Divisible by 9, 9 being a sacred, a holy number, indicating the end of a cycle, the end of a cycle. And so Ram Dass says if you've got your 108 mala and you've gone around one repetition, you simply flip it and start going back the other way. So if you're so inclined. And there can be a variety of materials. You know, they might be stones that have healing properties about them. And the tassel represents lotus blossoms and enlightenment. So that's just a little bit about mala beads. And of course, the rosary, you know, is about counting your prayers. The Apostles' Creed, the Our Father, you know, for me, confession, you know, the growing up Catholic, and the priest says, you know, go do, you know, 10 Hail Marys because I took my sister's toy or something. And so then you have your counting mechanism for that. Muslims also use beads, prayer beads, sabha or misbah prayer beads, and it's a way to relax and switch off again the thinking mind. We last week talked about it's the month of Ramadan that we're in right now, and so the adherents to Ramadan may be using mala beads or their sabha beads, similar to rosary, similar to mala beads. And I think it's fabulous to look at this idea that spanning cultures and religions and spanning time, the importance of chant, repetition, affirmations, whether it's Sanskrit word or an English word, it's the resulting process of opening your mind, becoming receptive to the divine that is shared by so many religions. And of course, this is what Ernest Holmes taught. This is what he taught, that the science of mind is a weaving of the truth through all religions, all cultures, science. And of course, a couple weeks ago, I talked about the science of the repetition. It's a beautiful thing. The spiritual principles, universal principles and practices. So from the Gayatri mantra to the Lord's Prayer, to our own personal affirmations, there's great power in this repetition. A couple weeks ago, I had created an affirmation for myself because I was caught up so much in some anger or distrust or bewilderment to what's going on in the world. And so I created the following affirmation for myself. I am love. And so each one was a repetition, and I did do it with my mala beads. So I am love. I release all fear, all judgment, all condemnation, and allow love to lead in me, lead as me, lead through me. I am love. That was one repetition. And I got to tell you that by the time I finished 108 repetitions of that, I was vibrating love. I was love, able to express it freely without the judgment and the condemnation and whatnot. And this is our natural state. This is releasing everything that covers the natural state. And it's also what the law of attraction is all about, that we are attracting, we are a magnet for that which we are vibrating. So as always, my invitation to you is make it your spirit, make your spiritual practice unique to you, make it special to you, make it something that really resonates with you and for you. This is what I love so much about what Steve and Meredith and the rest of the Rock and Kirtan band have created, you know, Sabrina and Jesse and Jay, is that multicultural, multi-sensual, multi-faceted, with blended with rock and roll practice of chanting. And so again, this is your time to go in and play with this. Nobody can see you, nobody can hear you. And so sing and dance, please. They're going to come back on in just a moment, and they're going to share with us two more chants consecutive. The first one is perfect for where we are in the world today with the global pandemic. It is about courage. Sat Siri, Syria call. Sat Siri, Syria call. It's a meditative invitation for that invincible spirit within us to rise up and remove all the destructive impulses that we have. Impulses like when you're alone, like withdrawing yourself, being alone and withdrawing yourself. We may have to isolate right now, but we do not have to withdraw. Having a fear of the future or fantasizing about the future, being present with what is keeps us really strong and stable. And also the third destructive impulse is that of either being too heavily engrossed in greed or in scarcity, because there's a prosperity that's available all the time to all of us. It's our natural inheritance. So those are the three that particular chant refers to. And then they're going to do Spirit Rising, which you got a taste of Spirit Rising a couple weeks ago. And this is a call and response, and the words will be on your screen. So again, sing out, dance, love, be with this, and experience it. Okay, back to Stephen Meredith.
Wait, no. Yeah.
This is sung by the Kundalini yogis when somebody passes. So I'd like to throw this out and dedicate it to all the beautiful souls that have passed due to this pandemic. Sat City, City Car, City Car, Mako Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. Sat City, City Car, City Car, Mako Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. Sat City, City Call, City Call, Mako Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. Kalamuri, Waheguru. Kalamuri, Waheguru. Come down off your throne, leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I've been waiting so long. Somebody will hear, but I'm in the end, and I just ain't got the time. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. Sat City, City Call, City Call, my call, Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. Sat City, City Call, City Call, my call, Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. Sat City, City Call, City Call, my call, Satana Kalamuri, Waheguru. down on your own. Leave your body alone. Somebody must change. You are the reason I've been waiting all these years. Somebody wants to keep, but I'm near the end and I just ain't got the time. And I'm wasting and I can't find my way home. And I'm wasted and I can't find my way home. I'm coming home. That city, city of call, city of call, my call, start to now, convoluted, my girl. That city, city of call, city of call, my call, start to now, convoluted, my girl. That city, city of call, city of call, my call, start to now, convoluted, my girl. Downloaded, Waheguru. Downloaded, Waheguru.
If you have someone who's recently passed, someone that you love, or a friend, or anyone it could be, even for chanting for people in the community or someone that you don't know, you can simply chant a call 3 times, and that helps to send someone beautifully on their way. It's a beautiful prayer.
Now, kirtan is a Sanskrit word meaning repeat, and this is a great song or mantra for this. This is written by our friend Rabbi Shohama Wiener, and it's called Spirit Rising. And it's very uplifting, and it's a great mantra right now for these times. I'm sure you'll pick it up and be able to sing along. Spirit rising, 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 Spirit rising now. Spirit rising, 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 Spirit rising now. Spirit rising in my body, Spirit rising in my soul. Spirit rising in my body.
Hope is rising now. Hope is rising in my body. Hope is rising in my soul.
Hope is rising in my body.
Hope is rising in my soul. Joy. Joy is rising, rising, rising. Joy is rising now. Joy is rising now. Joy is rising in my body. Joy is rising in my soul.
Joy is rising in my body.
Joy is rising in my soul. Love. Love is rising, rising, rising. Love is rising now.
Rising, rising, rising.
Love is rising now. Love is rising in my body. Love is rising in my soul.
Love is rising in my body.
Love is rising in my soul. Peace. Peace is rising, rising, rising. Peace is rising now.
Peace is rising, rising, rising.
Peace is rising now. Peace is rising in my body. Peace is rising in my soul.
Peace is rising in my body. Peace is rising in my soul.
Thank you, Stephen and Meredith. Thank you very much. I hope you've all been chanting along. Teresa and I were chanting and dancing along with them, and hope you don't miss the opportunity. I think there's one more chant, so don't blow it. Chant with them. I'm going to read from Ernest Holmes' book, This Thing Called You. Here's an excerpt. When thoughts of confusion persist in coming to the surface, statements of peace will neutralize them. When thoughts of fear assail, statements of faith will counteract their action. When thoughts of unhappiness well up from within, thoughts of happiness and joy will transmute them through the alchemy of spirit. First of all, you must arrive at peace of mind. It is only on the basis of peace that you can persist with absolute certainty. Peace alone gives poise. There is an intuition within you which already knows that you are one with good, that your destiny is certain, and you must listen to this intuition, for it is the voice of God within you. Quite naturally, many ask, is there a secret way? Is there an occult way? Is there some great thing that only a few people know, the great and wise ones, that I must learn? Must I fast, concentrate and pray without ceasing? Must I beseech or implore? Must I work out all the mistakes I have ever made to become redeemed? Must I renounce everything to find peace? How am I going to be made whole? Unfortunately, many persons labor under the mistaken idea that there are deep secrets, that there are subtle and unknown pathways which a few people know about, great truths which only a few have realized, and so the search goes on through the pathways of mystery. Many persons sincerely believe that every mistake they have made will be held against them for an indefinite period. Many others believe that God is trying them, and far too many believe in the necessity of devious pathways, strange and weird rites, adherence to certain forms and rituals. Ernest suggests we take a more direct path. To reach our true self, the answer is within. When the first house was lighted with electricity, the darkness did not groan and say, "How long have I been dark? How ignorant have been those who permitted this darkness? What grievous mistakes they have made." The darkness said nothing when the light spoke. And the light shone in the darkness, and the darkness was not. There were no devious paths other than the discovery of the light. There was no judgment of darkness against the light. There was no action of darkness upon the light. The light merely exclaimed, "Behold, I come," and the darkness disappeared. All right, we're going back to Stephen Meredith for one more chant. Chant along.
Hi.
Wait.
Well, last week, Bob quoted Ernest Holmes talking about a spiritual partner within, and Theresa spoke about going within abundantly and the divine within. So the next mantra is called Hari Om, or calling on the light within. Hari means remover of obstacles or removing suffering. And Satnam means true identity, or being all you can be, being the best of yourself. This is also by the Guru Ganesha Band.
Everybody sing it. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. Call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. I know you, Lord, something now. Holy name when I call on the light within. I know. Dear Lord, something now. Holy name when I call on the light within. I know. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the light. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light. I call on the Everybody sing. I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. Call on the light, I call on the light, I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, I call on the light, I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, I call on the light, I call on the light within. Call on the light within. I call on the light within. Call on the light, I call on the light. Call on the light within. I know the Lord's Adonai, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go.
You said that.
Wow. I hope that you did have enough of the sound to have that experience. I know that it got a little rough, a little off, but heck, we had a good time. I ended up putting on all my beads, dancing around, singing out loud, and I hope you did as well. All our blocks are Bobby's got.
I got my beads too.
These are from New Orleans, I think. Are these Mardi Gras beads? Bobby, his beads are little.
It took a lot of praying after that trip to New Orleans.
Oh, yes, it did. Oh, yes, it did. So now that all our blocks are removed for every one of us, yeah, and we are flooded with the light. A light that I pray each one of us owns very deeply. And I want to thank you for your continued support of this ministry. We feel very blessed that we're continuing to connect and come to you, and we will continue, and we'll work on getting that sound a little better. Right now, Evan is posting for you the 4 ways that you can give. We have 4 different ways. There's links. You can text to pay. You can use PayPal. You can mail a check. All those are there. And we've also been reading every week now for the last several weeks anyway, this poem of Ernest Holmes, a poem of abundance. And she's going to put that up. So maybe you can read along with Bobby and I on this too. Really, my intention with this ministry is that we come to a place where we are living. We are living from abundance. We are living from the consciousness of the flow of this one life, this abundant life that is forever giving to us, through us, and bringing us all to a place of complete acceptance of that, and to be able, that's what living it would be. And these mantras, these affirmations, they're powerful words that we use. And so now, as we get ready to read this together, go into your mind, into the closet of your mind, as it is said, and speak with complete authority these words, affirming your good. And as always, we want to affirm the good for everyone, right? So good and more good is mine.
An ever-increasing good is mine.
There is no limit to the good, which is mine.
Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it.
It crowds itself against me. It flows through me and expresses itself in me and multiplies itself around me.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you. I love that. I just want to remind you of a few things. We have 2 other online ways to be connected during the week. On Tuesday nights, we have what we're calling a prayer circle, but it's a time to just connect with one another and get support for where you are at this time and how you're feeling, where you are. And then Thursday night, Julie Birch leads us in a meditation, which is beautiful. Both of those are on Zoom. If you are on our email list, we send out the link every week, every Tuesday. So make sure that if you're not on our email list and you want to receive those, you can go to our website, which is www.cslculturalcoast.org. And at the bottom of the website is a place to sign up for the newsletter. So do that and we'll send you out that link. I also want to let you know that I'm going to begin a class this month. And the date that I begin it will depend on you. What I'm looking for is best day and time. I can be fairly flexible. I'm looking at either Wednesday evening or Thursday evening or Thursday day. Wait, I can't do Thursday evening. So Wednesday evening or Thursday day. So chime in, let me know what seems to work best for you. And that class is called Spiritual Principles and Practices. And we'll be talking about the foundation of the Science Mind teaching. What are the universal principles that we base this teaching on, this philosophy on, and then the practices that we adhere to. In that, and it is a 5-week class. So we'll have five meetings with it. And we'll do it on Zoom as well. We'll do it online on Zoom. And I think that's all I want to say for now. Yeah.
Okay, keep in mind that we have prayer practitioners available. Elaine Silver, Tom Dieter, and I are available to pray with you if you'd like prayer. There's also in the email prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. You can email your prayers to us.
That's new this week.
That special email address strictly for prayer. And so let's close with Let It Shine.
Thanks for being with us.
There's a light in the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whenever you see darkness, you've got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine.